have just had the King's birthday long weekend here in New South Wales, and we've had a really productive one. We kicked off early on Friday afternoon. My daughter was doing some upcycling and sewing. She sewed late into the night. Gets that from her father, I think. Didn't get a video of that. Also didn't get a video of my knitting on Friday night. I was too busy powering through my shawl and making progress on that, and I was watching The Survivors on Netflix. And then Saturday morning, I finished binging The Survivors, did some more knitting, and then I spent most of the day catching up on washing, getting the beds with their winter sheets on. We collected a heap of firewood and got the fire cleaned and set up, ready for our first fire of the season. So that was kind of our Saturday, and then we finished off playing this game called Happy Little Dinosaurs, which is one of our fave nice, easy, and not too long tabletop games. Sunday morning, my husband went into the office for a couple of hours, so I had a nice slow start with a coffee and finished my book for the Bookish Knitters Society before hitting the craft room and getting started on my Week in the Life album. I made decent progress. I did only get Monday done, but Monday was like 4 or 5 pages, and I did make a start on the Tuesday one. So I had lots of fun with that, just playing around with different scrapbooking techniques, different mixed media, and it was really fun to go through and to look at all those photos again and revisit that week and make some notes on that. Annoyed my teenager by texting him at university to say, hey, do you remember what your roster was that week? And stacks of fun stuff like that. So just adding all the little details. So it was really nice to get some progress on that project. I'm hoping to get that one finished this week. And then Sunday evening, we decided to have a movie night. We'd picked up our youngest from Scout Camp, so he was pretty tired. So we were looking just for a nice, easy night. Normally, we would play a game or something again on the Sunday night of a long weekend, but we went with a movie instead. We watched Catch Me If You Can. So it's an older one, but the kids thought it was really fun. So that was a nice evening. And while we watched that, I worked on my crochet blanket. I am really not loving this section, and so it's taking me forever. One, it's slow because it's colorwork crochet, and for two, I'm just not enjoying the process, so I'm procrastinating, and I'll do like 2 or 3 sections and then I'll put it down. So it's going to take me forever, but I really need to kind of make some progress. I'm actually half tempted to just forget the pattern and kind of make my own thing up for this section because I'm really, really not enjoying it. And it's getting to the point where I'm struggling to get the motivation to keep pushing on with this blanket, to be honest. So I'm tempted to do that. We'll see what this week brings. Then on Monday, I was back into the craft room, continuing on with my Week in the Life album. I was feeling a bit stuck, so I decided I would do some jelly printing. I'm actually working on the last page here, and it just needed some mixed media elements, but I couldn't quite decide what. So I thought jelly printing might be an option on calligraphy paper, because then I'm not doing it straight on the background paper. And so if I don't like it, it's not hard to change out. So I did some jelly printing, played around with that, got that page finished, and then once I had all that done, I swapped over into Sketchbook Revival for a little bit while I had the jelly plate out, packed up all my scrapbooking stuff. I didn't record my Sketchbook Revival work, mostly because it is classes, and so to respect the work of the teachers, I didn't want to share the steps that I was doing as part of that. I do have photos on my blog, though, of the pages that I made as part of that. I did 3 different classes, 2 on Monday and then 1 yesterday, and it was really fun. I surprised myself, actually, because they were both faces, and I didn't actually hate how they turned out, so I'll call that a win. And so in between all the mess making, I took a break and started to wind some yarn because I'd basically gotten as far as I could with my knitting. So I needed to wind 2 different yarns. This one here is a grey for a pair of socks that I'm knitting. It was my Christmas yarn, and I just didn't quite have enough. And then I also had to wind the second skein of my Bookish Knitters Society for my shawl, which was the whole reason I got my winder and swift out. And so I did that, and I was getting started on that second one when Mr. 11 wandered in. He's like, can I do the winding for you? So that was actually kind of fun. I just had to stand there and make sure that everything ran smoothly and help him out a couple of times where it just got tangled up a little bit. But he had a lovely time winding that on for me, and then I've got 2 beautiful cakes of yarn, and I was able to settle back down on the couch by the fire and keep knitting on that shawl. And what did I end up watching? I ended up watching a couple of episodes of Ghost while I was knitting. Ghosts, the US version. So that's also on Netflix. And Car, my podcast partner. And so then, really, all that's left to do now is to clean up all this mess on my desk, put away my sketchbook, tidy away all the paints and things, grab a box to pack all my week in the life so I can keep picking away at that. My goals for this week is to finish that album because I do have another album that I desperately want to get finished this month, which is our holiday from last year. So it was July last year, and so I'm determined to get it finished before the 12-month anniversary rolls around for that. And that is what my long weekend looked like. I hope you guys had a great long weekend also, for those of you in Australia who had the day off. And I'll be back next week with another video. Bye.